Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm Eva Maria, your Monday hostess for this season. And this week, for week 18, this is season 6, week 18, our topic is spiritual influences, melding paths. And what we're basically going to be discussing in essence is how, as magical practitioners, we may tend to be influenced by various paths, various philosophies, and so on and so forth. We may utilize various techniques, that kind of stuff. For example, you can liken this very much to how you may notice with, for example, musicians or other sorts of artists. They often have notable influences in their sound or in their creations. You may be listening to a song or looking at, a painting or something, and you may recognize influences from some other, great artist or musician or whatever, someone that in some way influenced, the artists who came later, who in their own pieces, reflections of those who have sort of shaped them can be seen. And the same, again, as I said before, the same is true, I think. I can tell from what I've seen, the same is true for many magical practitioners. I know in my own case it's definitely true. Not so much specifically with particular people, though there are people that have had significant influences on my journey, but I'm talking more about techniques or philosophies, beliefs, teachings, etc., things that come from a wide array of paths. As a chaos magician, you will know, if you've listened to anything I've said about, in previous videos on my channel or on this one, if you've heard me speak on, my experience with chaos magic and, chaos magic in general, I've probably touched upon the fact that a lot of chaots will draw on many sources, and that's actually one of the 6 core principles, drawing on many techniques, utilizing many techniques, sort of being open to approaching, utilizing various approaches is actually, I think, the actual way it's put, but in essence it's the same thing. We tend to draw on many different paths in our approaches. You may have also noticed, if you kind of follow my own channel and a lot of the things that I say on this channel, you may have noticed influences from other paths in my practice. You may notice, for example, some Wiccan influence here, or some Hoodoo influence there, or some Santerian or spiritualist influence here or there, or even some high magic leanings. Like, you will notice little things. It's sort of an amalgam, and the way I arrived at that was, I guess, sort of part of my own journey. But it's not like you have to be a chaot to do this. There are, for example, many eclectic pagans or eclectic witches that they're not chaots per se. They don't follow the 6 core principles, but they do draw on many techniques, many paths, many teachings. They go where they are led intuitively, and they work in a way that resonates with them. They respectfully borrow from many paths, and if things flow smoothly for them, if it makes sense to them, if it's, if these are techniques that come together without, what's the word I'm looking for? without contradiction in any way. They kind of just roll with it. And I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's a really great way to approach one's path and practice. I think if we are open-minded, if we do learn about many paths, whether we always, utilize certain techniques, or if we necessarily subscribe to, varying beliefs or not, a wide array anyway. Even if whether we do that or not, at least just knowing about other paths, I think, is excellent, because what you understand, you can, how can I explain it? If you have a greater understanding, you will not approach those whose paths differ from a place of ignorance. There will be a lot more harmony within our community. I think we can all come forth wiser if we, come to understand, like, what makes that practitioner over there tick, and why do they do what they do. That's actually, I think, very enlightening, and you can learn a lot from it, even if you don't do what they do, even if it doesn't make sense to you. At least if you understand why they do what they do, I think it facilitates, it makes possible, a lot more harmony, and just, I think it's just positive to understand where people are coming from, why they do what they do, what they do exactly. We often, as human beings, we tend to fear what we don't understand. We tend to stay away from what we don't understand. It can be very scary. The unknown is a thing that I think freaks all of us out to some degree. But if we understand, we can be wiser, we can be more accepting, we can learn from others, even if, let's say, what they are doing is not for us. So there's that. But, if we do utilize various techniques, I think it's a good thing too, because if anything, you're widening your arsenal of, magical approaches, and there's nothing wrong with having various approaches to draw on. I think we come to develop ourselves better when we do that. You can't, you can. You can do things just one way. You really can. But you can only, I think, learn so much and challenge yourself so much when all you do is do things one set way, abiding by dogma, abiding by one paradigm. I think when we try new things, when we experiment with new things, when we learn about new things, when we question things, I think that is excellent, excellent for us as magical practitioners. I think we only come out better for it. And so it's one of the reasons why I draw on many, techniques and approaches, and why I do question, the things that I think and the things that I encounter, and the things that other people do. I do explore, and I believe it has shaped me. It has made me the practitioner I am today. And I'd say that I'm actually, I would consider myself to be well-rounded. And I do recommend, open-mindedness, questioning, seeking, respectfully, of course. I don't think there's any need for judgment, per se, of others, in the sense of, hey, if you don't like something, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to do it. You don't have to believe it. But you also don't have to attack someone for doing what you don't believe in. So what if they believe something different? So what even if they sound like a total kook? Let them be kooky in peace. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling. I think that's pretty much my my approach on this topic. I do think it is excellent to try new things. I do recommend, though, for those that are newer to magical practice, if you're going to experiment, and if you're going to, start trying new things, I do think it is a good idea, before you actually physically try things, to try to learn as much as you can about them. And the reason why I suggest that is because I think it's a good idea to have a good understanding as much as you can about what you will be doing, what the technique entails, if there are any recommendations of what you should maybe be careful of, or what might make things easier on you, if there are any recommendations put forth by others in those regards, in whatever it is, whatever technique you want to, try. It's good to heed those, and I think it's good to kind of see what people have to say on certain techniques, see what what kind of an idea they give you of what you can expect from doing what it is that you're seeking to do. What is the intended result? What results have they had? Things like that. I think it is very excellent to kind of try to wrap your head around things first before you like dive in with both feet. I say this because there are, while some people may be like, oh, don't be such a naysayer, don't be so like overly worried and stuff. I do, from personal experience, know that there are certain things that if you're very new and you just jump in, you can kind of get in over your head a little bit, I mean, I've been there. I've done things that I was like, oh my God, what the hell did I do? But as years went by, I kind of started realizing it's probably a better idea if I kind of try to wrap my head around things first before running out there and being like, I'm going to do this, So I do recommend that. But I think with this, with these thoughts that I've put forth here, I think this pretty much sums up my stance on this. And now I'm going to wish you all blessed be in Ashe. I'm going to turn this topic over to the other hosts here at Witches of the Moon, and I do look forward to seeing their videos. I'm really interested in hearing, what some of their spiritual, magical, influences are, in their lives. And yeah, you stay tuned, check those videos out, and until next time, until our next exchange, you all stay awesome, and bye-bye for now.